I guess it's September. Found some free insulation foam boards. They're giving it away, so I picked up a whole bunch of that. I'm gonna put it up in the roof, insulate the roof a bit. Found a waste oil heater online. It's got a 10-gallon tank down there, but I'm gonna modify this tank here to go into that, or feed that waste oil heater. It's a Lan Air XT75. Lan Air. Excellent customer service. If this thing works as they say it works, yeah, get you some of that if you need it. Some more insulation. Found a buyer for this crappy scissor lift project thing that never came to fruition. It just didn't really work for me. Got that scissor lift table in its place. There's a T5 Ford transmission, my Ranger. Been putting up pipe, more pipe to cover the connexes because it leaks. You know, when it rains on top of the connex drains down into the shop here, and that's not conducive to a clean work environment. It's all wet on the floor. That sucks. So I'm gonna put a roof over each connex, much in the same style as this roof, just pipes. That side too, and hopefully we can keep this area dry. Neighbor gave me some free plywood, so I'll use up that on the roof much as I can. That hole over there in the corner is where the waste oil heater is going to go. I had moved the Zepp parts washing bin over here. It's in that corner down there. So trying to move things around, get things dried out. Hopefully I can get it before the snow flies. I only got about 12 days before I have to go to work, so check that out. Got me a new toy also. Yamaha Wolverine X2 1000. Freaking badass. The garage is actually being used as a garage. Look, I'm making a big ass mess. Look at that. Little car. Paid $500 for this little Ford Escape. It's a 2006. It's in pretty damn decent shape, considering. The windshield's a little cracked. Interior is flawless. It needs tires. One thing that they said that it needed was an engine. And I did a compression test on it, and it's got 150 psi across all six. This is a V6 3.0 liter Ford. So it's got good compression, and it held compression. So the timing did jump. I pulled codes off of it. There was the 340, P340 I think it was, cam position sensor. And you can see there's the little mark on the timing chain, and then the mark is over here on the gear. So the exhaust moved quite a bit. I don't know if you can tell, but the intake moved a little bit, and the exhaust did not move a little bit. So this is the one that jumped. That one there. So I ordered a new timing chain set for it, and have been wrenching on this thing for a couple of days. One thing for those that want to play with this kind of car, have somebody else do the alternator for you, or do yourself a favor and just have somebody else do the job. This thing freaking sucks, man. The alternator is, you see what I had to pull apart just to get to the alternator on this car. The power steering pump is just as bad. One bolt you can't reach unless you're a contortionist of some sort. But yeah, the alternator is a pain in the patookie. Had to pull the axle out, had to drop the the spindle deal, or the whatever you call this thing. The brakes, obviously. The exhaust was in the way, so I had to pull that off. Ended up breaking a stud. See it there? Yeah. Gonna let focus. Yeah, broke that stud off, so I'm gonna have to do some exhaust repair. But once I get this thing put back together, it should be a pretty good little car. It's all-wheel drive. 127,000 miles. It was tagged. The last time it was tagged was in 2020, I believe. We can go see. I just put a new stereo in it because you gotta have your tunes. But yeah, 2020 was the last time it was tagged. Needs a new windshield wiper blade. That thing's shit. But yeah, so this will be my little budget beater for the winter time. With the all-wheel drive, it should get me around pretty good. I'm gonna have to buy some new tires for it. These ones are pretty worn. The front, when I picked it up, the fronts were flat. And you see there's the mark on the tire from it being flat. So fronts were flat, rears actually held air. I may get away. Look at that cracking on that sucker. Good gravy. I may, if I get it running and driving, we'll spend the expensive new tires on it. But this is what I've been working on for a little while. Got the motorcycle lift being a table. Just use that to change the oil on the old snowblower, so it's ready this winter. You know. Yeah. So that's what I've been up to with this thing. It's been consuming my time. I'm going to kind of clean things up. I'm ready to pull the rear valve cover off, and then drop the motor mount on this side. I'll have to block up the engine down here so they don't fall over. I'll block the engine up, pull the valve cover, pull the motor mount, and I should be able to pull the front timing cover off of this thing and get into the cam chains, or the timing chains. I did hear it run. You know, when I picked it up, they had parts missing. The intake was gone, or the tube, the airbox tube was gone, and this valve cover was off. The intake obviously was off. That intake was off. So I put everything back together just to see if it would, you know, turn over if it wasn't seized or whatever. It did start. It seemed to run okay. Not great. It did make some noise. So I shut her down. And so it does. It is not locked up. That's a good thing there, because finding one of these motors is, I guess, kind of difficult. I looked around the junkyards. There's not really much in the junkyards for them. Online, there's only a couple of places that are selling used engines, but you know, a used engine is, you know, I don't want to roll the dice on a used engine. If I were to put a new engine in this, it'd have to be brand new, and you can't really find them brand new unless, well, there's a company online. I read online there was one offering $3,400 for a brand new V6, but all of their reviews were just terrible. Like the engines don't work, they're not new, etc. So I'm pretty sure Ford discontinued this thing a long time ago. I mean, this is 2006, so it's about 18 years old. But that's what I've got for right now. Working on this little car. Started in on putting some rafters up over the Connex. Tube rafters. I need to skin that with wood and throw down some more sheet metal on that side to keep the keep the water running away from the inside of this shop. And then obviously I still have yet to do this side, but I'll get to that whenever I can. And then back there is the waste oil heater that I still have to put together. But I kind of want to get this car out of the way first. I get this car fixed and out of the way, and then I can continue working on the shop. That's my little update for where Sidetrack is at. Put together that new fence over there, pounded them poles in, put a nice fence in on that side. Managed to get myself a side-by-side too. Look at that. I've got the engine at top dead center. Crankshaft keyway is in the 11 o'clock position. I've got pressure on my gauge. This is tied into the number 1 spark plug. So we're on the compression stroke in number 1. The book says 11 o'clock on the keyway for the crank. There's the key. It's at 11 o'clock. And then lo and behold, here's the timing marks. Supposedly the left bank, this mark should be directly that way and this one this way. And the timing chains are actually marked. There's one of the links is marked on the timing chain to correspond with that little mark on the camshaft. This is the exhaust camshaft. So if we look down here, I don't know if you can really see it, but here, let me get a flashlight on that sucker. Yeah, so see the mark on the exhaust camshaft is not lining up with the little timing chain, the lighter portion of the timing chain. It's not marked up, it's not lined up right there. There's the other mark. The other ones are lined up best as they can be according to this right here. These are lined up. No, maybe not. So no, those aren't lined up. That's off 1, 2, 2. But so I was underneath this thing and I was poking around, pardon the handheld being all weird and stuff. But I was looking at these chains, and the right bank, you can't compress this by hand. But if you grab a hold of this one here, I can compress that just by hand, which I think means that this tensioner has shit the bed, which is indicative of, what we see on the camshaft gears themselves. So I'm gonna start pulling all of these guys off, the guides and the tensioners and the chains, and then put the new chains back on it, and the new tensioners. I got new tensioners, new guides, all that good stuff is brand new in a box. So here we go. We'll just put it all back together again, and hopefully once I pull the chains off, I'm gonna have to advance the cam gears to match up with where the chains are supposed to be at, I guess. Well, new gaskets installed in the timing chain cover. Washed it down a bit. Got her pretty clean enough anyways. Little rubberized gaskets, lubricated the seal, put a new seal in there, lubricated it with some engine oil. Chains are on, all lined up. Got to clean that mating surface for that cover, and then install the cover and start putting this thing back together again. What a pain, man. This has been a nightmare. Got a runner. She runs freaking great. Got the timing chain set done. Tried to start it up and it wouldn't start. There was no spark. So I had to go back and trace the troubleshoot the deal. The book said check the sensors, the crank position sensor, the cam position sensor. Went underneath and checked them out. And sure enough, I had pinched the wires going to the crank position sensor between the timing cover and the block. Damaged that wire, so I had to take everything apart again off the front of this thing and the top. Fix the wire, put everything back together again, plugged everything back in, got everything all buttoned up, and it fired right up. Runs great. Not bad. I think I lucked out. $500 beater. Said it needed a new engine, but I was able to save this thing. So tires are at the tire shop, or the wheels are at the tire shop. I found some Blizzaks on Marketplace to put on them. So it's going to get some good studded tires, all four corners, and then giving it some more love. Got a little bit of antifreeze since I lost some antifreeze. Have some gear oil, brakes, some brake fluid. So I'm going to go around and do the brakes. Looks like the rears aren't too bad. At least I'll have the pads for the rears, but the fronts were looking pretty thin. So I'll change the fronts. Probably just leave the backs alone. Service the rear diff. Yeah, that's tons of pad there. So service the rear diff, service the transmission and the transfer case. Change out the wipers, and this thing will be good to go on the road. There is one kind of peculiar thing. I don't know if I can fish this camera in here good enough, but there's something in there that's wired in. It's not a factory thing. I don't know what it is. I suspect this vehicle might have been a commercial vehicle, so it could have a nanny system in it. And then I found this thing. I don't know what this is. It's got a little light on it. Little processor chip or something. Don't know what that is. Don't need it, I'm sure. So I'll probably just unplug it. And send this thing down the road. I'm pretty happy with the results. It was missing the air box, well, half of the air box, the tube, and the MAF sensor. So that stuff I've got on order. It's I found one on eBay, so they're supposedly going to ship it here. It should be here in the next couple of days, so I can finish this up, and then away we go. Is running like a top. Decided I'd let her drive a little bit, warm up that transmission, check to see if the heater works. The heater does work. So yeah, warming up the transmission so I can do a transmission fluid change. running pretty good. I also gave her a little bit of a radio upgrade. Check engine light is on because of the maps, or the MAF sensor, I think. And ABS is troubling. I don't know what that means. Step on the brakes work. I think I got a headlight out. Turn the lights on, see what happens. Okay, so headlights should be on, but they're not on. I got a parking light over there. Huh. Why is it not doing the headlights? Should have headlights. If we got fog lights. Well, the fog lights work. I don't have any headlights. So that's concerning. And that's one more clicking. Still no headlights. This